I'm back from Hawaii. Mum and Dad took us on a family holiday, and I quite literally had the time of my life. To me, Hawaii is basically a more tropical, better looking Australia with beautiful beaches and incredible mountains. All the people have got a similar chill vibe to us Australians, and it was genuinely the time of my life. Absolutely loved it. 2 weeks in heaven. One of the reasons for my holiday being as incredible as it is was the music, because all I heard everywhere that we went was Hawaiian reggae, stuff like this.
This one for the whole wide west side. Respect. Want everybody to come down here.
If I play any more of that, I'm going to get copyrighted, but that is the Rebel Souljahz, which is rebel and then soul, as in S-O-U-L, your soul, and then jazz, J-A-H-Z. So I think that might be some sort of link to religion and jar. But if not, Rebel Souljahz, Ivory Beach Party. That is an incredible song. Another one of theirs that I love. Herb, whiskey, and reggae. The bass guitar on this is really busy and clever. It's really, really, really good. And this is more of a reggae vibe. The other one is more of like a rocky reggae vibe with that Santana lead guitar stuff. And I love this sort of music. With my newfound love of Hawaiian reggae, just reggae as a whole, I would like to try writing some reggae music myself. Eventually I'll come out with an entire reggae album if I write enough of it. And hopefully we can use some of this music for my Hawaii vlog, which will be coming out soon. It was supposed to come out a couple of days ago, but I've only edited 3 days worth of footage. And we of course don't have any music. So with that in mind, let's get started. Where is my book of many things, my book of songwriting? Now, I had already planned on writing some reggae music, and I actually listened to Roxanne, Police/reggae style structure, Roxanne, 4/4 in G minor, and I wrote out the structure of the song, and then I was going to come up with something myself. But it goes intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then a double time chorus, end of song. Okay, let's just ignore that and come back to that later. Let's figure out what we need to do. What I've learnt over the last 3 weeks of listening to nothing but Hawaiian reggae music is, first of all, as you'd kind of expect, we need an offbeat, syncopated rhythm for a lot of the instruments, more specifically the guitars. The guitars are almost always 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the chord progressions I think are usually up, up, down, down, back, up, down, which makes things simple because it's just 2 chords, and then figure something else out for the chorus. But verses seem to be pretty simple. One of my favorite things that I noticed on the drums is drums equal 1 bar behind, or late maybe. 1 bar late. With rock and other styles of music, you'll find that as we go from one section to another, or from verse to chorus is the example, as the chorus begins, so do the instruments. You'll have a big crash and then a driving beat with the drums. Your guitar riff will begin, the bass guitar will follow, and then your vocals will be over the top. But what I've noticed about reggae music is we will start these new sections with just the vocals, the guitar, and maybe even the bass guitar, where there's a significant absence of the drums. The drums will come in with a fill, maybe half a bar to a bar and a half later, and then the full beat will start 1 to 2 bars after the beginning of this new section. So for me, as a rock musician, that's late, but for reggae, that's perfectly on time. So offbeat, syncopated rhythms, and maybe even in brackets, I'm going to put half-time feel. And then the highly tuned drums are always 1 or 2 bars after the start of the new section. That is pretty much all I figured out about reggae. I don't know anything about chord progressions. I don't know what instruments I should be using. I feel as though we need drums, guitar, and bass. We might add some keys, add some piano, maybe. I don't know. Step 1 is going to be to work out what chord progressions and what sorts of chords we normally use. The other thing that I've recognized is 7th/jazzy chords. Instead of it being major and minor, we have more major 7ths, minor 7ths, dominant 7th chords, and make things more jazzy. That's the first time I played my acoustic guitar in almost a month, because of course I went on holiday. Let's get that tuned up. My tuner was on ukulele tuning, which made me think we need to add ukulele into some of these songs. Ivory Beach Party is the main driving force behind me wanting to write some reggae music, but my first real reggae inspirations were, of course, Bob Marley and the Wailers. I'm going to add, we'll say Three Little Birds. If you think Bob Marley, you're going to think Three Little Birds. So I'll add that to the list. And also, Is This Love by Bob Marley. That was one of the first bass guitar riffs that I learnt. And if I think about the riff, I'm pretty sure it was around, I think I know the hand positioning, just the melody, I can't remember. All of that seems to fall back onto that F sharp, I think, which makes me think we're in the key of F sharp something, major or minor. We can confirm right now. Alright, progression is F sharp minor, D major, A major, and then that sort of moving thing, which could be a G sharp minor, something like that, which would be your second chord, but F sharp minor, D, A. Something kind of like that, which would be a 1, 6, 3. 1, 6, 3 in the minor key progression. Let's take note of that and then move on to Three Little Birds. Okay, we have a 1-4 progression. A to D. That is Three Little Birds, Is This Love, and now Ivory Beach Party. Step 1 is what key are we in?
This one for the whole wide west side. Respect.
The bass in Ivory Beach Party moved down to that root note chord, that one chord being the A minor. And luckily, I was already thinking in A to D, with that sort of bass movement with the Three Little Birds. So that just kind of picked up straight away in my brain. And then that backwards a little bit to the C, and then to that A there. The only other chord progression which I'm going to write down as well is the main reggae progression, which was the first thing that I thought of, where you sort of go... So it's basically your 4-1 progression, but in the minor key. What we'll do now is just switch over to the electric guitar, because I'd like to play all of these chords a little bit higher up on the neck, and just to make my life a little bit easier, we'll just use my electric guitar. We might go the Strat. I am tuned to E flat standard, so although I'm playing C shape and F shape, it's technically C flat, F flat, or B and E, whatever. But our first chord progression is 1-4-1-4 from Three Little Birds, which in C major will just be C and F. Could even add a cadence. Our only other major key chord progression is 1-6-3, which was the major variant of Is This Love. Is This Love is in the minor key, and I just wanted to see what that chord progression, the 1-6-3, would sound like in the major key, which is now C major, A minor, E minor. I don't know how I feel about that for reggae, but it's there nonetheless. Next is Ivory Beach Party, which goes D minor, C major, A minor. So a 4-3-1 progression, which I really quite like. And then from Ivory Beach Party, I also heard D minor, E. Then the A minor, which I thought was a good sounding chord progression for a transition into the chorus or something like that. So I've written that down just in case I want to use that for a pre-chorus or something like that. But next is 1-6-3, which was Is This Love, A minor, F, C. And then the minor variant of the 1/4 chords, which is now. Okay, just thinking with my brain there, we might steal the 2 Ivory Beach Party chords and then also the 1/4 chord. So A minor to D minor. We might use the 2 of them and then that one for the chorus, them 2 for the verse and then the pre-chorus. Then for the bridge, we might do something a little bit more rocky, a little bit more guitar solo potentially. All we've got to do now is work out what key we should play in. Obviously, I'm not going to reuse the exact same chords in the exact same key from the song that I've completely stolen a chord progression from. So we should probably do some transposition. Instead of A minor, we could do E minor. Mostly because I just love soloing in E. Okay, we can do that in E, which means a new progression becomes A minor, G major, E minor. Which, that was too low and then the E minor was too high. So if we did that a different octave. That could work, but not as the main progression. I think that is way too high. When listening to the way that guitar is played for reggae, you could almost look at it as more of a lead rhythm guitar, sort of like what George Harrison would do if he's not doing guitar solos. So instead of it being just this, you're just playing the entirety of an A minor 7 chord or something, I might instead just pick the upper notes, the higher notes of that. So that instead of, that's got too much low end for reggae guitar. So I guess this works. So our A minor could work there. G major we have right there. And then E we can play there. We can play an E minor there as more of a triad with the bass. That's got potential. Alright, I need to work on that a little bit more. The bass guitar I can kind of just sing in my head and then work it out once I've got the structure of the song. But before I figure anything else with the guitar and the structure, we need to move over here and have a look at the drums.